All right, now that we got one of our side projects kind of out of the way, as well as a very large life event that just happened recently out of the way, we can kind of move on to getting back to this project. So today we'd like to see if we can kind of get some of the roofing done. So the first step of that process is getting the radiant barrier down. We're wanting to do a reflective layer that's going to kind of reflect some of the heat out of the actual building itself. So that's kind of our first plan. So we're going to see if we can lay that thing down, and then we're going to work on getting a roof that's actually has a little bit of an air barrier just underneath it when we start laying that metal down. So we'll walk you through the steps of how we start doing that. And this is our life now. Everywhere we go. A lot of pressure.
Yeah.
It's crazy that that one move does it.
My stomach like instantly tightens up.
Yeah, it's crazy that that one move like just does it, you know?
The stairs today did it.
Yeah.
And I only went up like 4 times. It makes me think things are progressing.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like tighter.
I see it.
It's crazy. What do you think about your first day? It's been pretty crazy, hasn't it? Been pretty crazy. We keep wrapping up our arms and it makes you so mad. It makes you so mad. And you had your first pee and your first poop. And guess who changed our first diaper? Daddy! You know what that means? He should be on permanent diaper duty. Yeah. He's a duty scooper. Yeah. What? A whole bunch of hair and a mullet in the back. And your mama's gonna teach you how to bake and how to cook dinner for daddy. But then he's gonna teach you how to build things because mama's not good at that. You got a whole bunch of stuff to look forward to. We're just a little scared about what to do with you, but we'll figure it out. We will figure it out. But I hate to tell you, but you are not getting a cell phone. And you will never have social media. And yeah, but it's okay. It's okay. The real person. Had a whole bunch of people. Oh, bless you. Goodness. Did you finally notice the baby? Did you finally notice her? What do you think about it? What do you think about it? Does she smell like us? Hmm?
This is the hour,
What do you mean? Start from here.
darkest place. Dante's Inferno, the devil's maze. It's a good world gone bad.
All right, now that we got that awful stuff on, we've actually got to start putting diagonal strips that are going to run across that. So we're just going to use this material here that I ripped down. And basically the idea is that that is actually going to be what we actually put our metal on top of, and that will create an air barrier to let the roof kind of vent itself. So let's get that done. Phew. Need to be cautious about not sliding on these boards and end up with a. I said I was sliding down these boards, just moving myself, and I was just like, actually, it's probably not a good idea. I'll end up with a freaking splinter in my butt.
Yeah, it's one of the sides of Texas.
I'm sure everybody's laughing at me. All of you experienced roofers out there just laughing at how uncomfortable, deeply, deeply uncomfortable I am up here. But the reality is that I have learned that I do not have roof legs whatsoever. But the reality is it doesn't matter. Because in the end, if I don't get up here and do this, nobody else is going to. But I suppose that is the opportunity for growth, isn't it? Doing the things you don't want to do, but you really should. Because in the end, if I'm not actively working hard to provide value in the family unit that we have, then what's my purpose? All right. Put the camera in an awkward place to make sure that the shot is interesting and you are as uncomfortable as possible. All right, well, as this reflective surface makes it feel like it's about 1 billion degrees up here, let me see if I can actually talk you through what it is that I'm actually trying to accomplish by putting these slats on top of the thing. So what we're going to be using is a metal roof. We're actually going to be using a standing seam metal roof because the idea is that typically with metal roofs, you have these screws that go through into the sheathing that then has like a little rubber washer, and that is what actually prevents the water from getting through that hole that you just punched through the metal. Well, we don't really like that very much because those rubber washers always end up going bad, and it's super frustrating because you always end up getting a leak. So what we want to do is we actually want the roof to actually click together. On the top, it actually it has a little piece that snaps together and actually mates with the last panel. And what that means is that there are no screws whatsoever that actually have to go through the metal roof. And so that's good. That way we don't have to worry about the failure point of the rubber washers. Furthermore, what we want to do is, just in case there ever is any moisture that actually does get underneath that metal, is that we want it to actually have a way that it can actually evaporate or vent out to the top of the roof. So how we accomplish that is we actually put an air gap just between the sheathing and the top of the metal. And that way what happens is that when we lift that up, it actually gives an area where through just convection currents, we can actually move as hot air rises. The hot air will collect down low, and then will then slowly start to rise up faster and faster till it gets to the peak where it can actually vent out, and we'll pull from a cool source down there. And so what this is able to do is actually able to allow us to dry out the area between the metal and between the wooden substrate that's just below the metal itself. And what these little slats do is that actually gives us the ability to do that. Now furthermore, with this reflective barrier does not work without an air gap being available. And so what we have to do is we actually have to lift that up so that it actually can have a surface that the heat can actually reflect off of. And hopefully, as much as this is an overbuild for a barn, essentially is what it is, hopefully we can kind of reduce the amount of heat that actually transfers down into the structure itself. And then we can do a little bit of venting downstairs, and that will actually help us keep this barn cool-ish. So that's kind of the whole idea once we insulate the whole thing. Necessity is the mother of invention. Huh?
You
Well, trial and error, I suppose. If you remember, we actually tried to make our own beams, or LVLs, really, is what we tried to do. And the reason why is because the cost of LVLs just went absolutely up through the roof over the last few years. And what we tried to do is we actually tried to make our own. Basically what we did was we took 2x6s and laid them on top of each other, just gluing in between and then screwing them down. But really, it didn't really work out very well. We built those in a point in time when it was really humid and wet outside all the time. As much as we tried to keep them covered, I'm just not really convinced that it actually set up very well. We did the math on everything, and an actual LVL would have actually worked for this. But the problem is that once we put the truss up there, I noticed that there was about a ½ inch to an inch worth of sag. And I'm really concerned, being that the roof isn't even on top of that truss, that this just really isn't going to work out. So you win some, you lose some, and that's just the way that it goes. So what we ended up doing was we actually ended up getting some steel, some actual steel beams, and we're going to throw those things up there. But really what we need to do is we need to get those trusses down. We also need to get these beams down. We need to see if we can slot those steel beams in there and really kind of eliminate this problem and just not even have to worry about this anymore. And that way I can just get it off my mind and we can just move on. So let's get that done. unfortunately, we don't have a crane, and our backhoe is not tall enough to actually hang these trusses, which we've got to get up there to stabilize the beams that we have up. So I guess we just have to resort to a little bit of redneck ingenuity. And but hey, if anybody wants to donate a crane or a pole truck or anything like that, just make sure you hit us up. Do I like welding scrap steel to our equipment? No, I really don't. But ultimately, still gotta make progress. That's gonna be about it for this video. It seems like it's gone on long enough. It has been just so hard to actually come out here and get a lot of work done, being that we have a full-time job, but also we are new parents now. So as exciting as that is, it also really takes up a whole lot of time. So realistically, we seem as though we have gotten a little bit of a routine going on, and hopefully that will kind of make things a little bit easier to actually get a lot of stuff done out here. So it seems as though there's just never enough of me to go around, but I guess that's not really gonna change anytime soon, is it? Make sure y'all subscribe. It'll actually really help us out a whole lot, but also we have a whole lot of interesting things going on with this building, but also a lot of the other projects that we have in the future, so make sure you follow along with that. Thank you all for watching.